Hello out there, Katrina Carroll Lewis here, and I am excited to share with you today's Hope from Home monologue, written by Chandler Hubbard and performed by Jamar Jones. Chandler is a research specialist at Virginia Repertory Theater and developer of the Advisory Council for our new Human Trafficking Prevention Early Intervention Program, which is in development. He's also an award-winning playwright. His monologue is performed by my dear friend and colleague, the delightful Jamar Jones, an award-winning actor. Jamar was recently seen performing the role of Corey in Virginia Rep's production of Fences. In this funny, charming, and poignant piece, a man takes solace in his gardening and develops an unexpected relationship with his grumpy neighbors during quarantine. If you are able to support this initiative and the other ways in which Virginia Rep is still creating during this time, please follow the link to donate. Enjoy the monologue.
Sugar, butter, flour. You ever heard that song from Waitress? You know, the one with the skinny white lady singing about being sad. The songs are catchy as hell, even though I never got into the whole bacon thing. Veggies? That's my jam. Well, not literally, because you know vegetables. Anyway, growing up, my mom was always insistent on fresh veggies. None of that canned nonsense. Like, she'd basically have hot flashes just thinking of the spray from slicing into an heirloom tomato. And she'd always pray over them. Thank the good Lord for this bountiful harvest. All that. So when I got a grown-up job and could finally afford my own place, I rented this nice old house that was like a block away from a small community garden. A nice neighborhood. Other than, well, every time I went to the garden, I walked past this one house that had the re-elect you-know-who signs out front. Not Voldemort, the other you-know-who. And this cranky 1,000-year-old white dude would hang out on the porch giving everybody, but mostly me, the stink eye. I'd always turn down my music and smile a little bit, but I'd also put my head down and keep walking, because you know, concealed permanent state. Doesn't take much of guys like that to call the cops on you for like loitering on the sidewalk or anything. And I'd always hurry along to the garden and hang out for a while with my lettuce and black-eyed peas, because apparently plants respond when you talk to them. So I tell them about my day, ask them questions, and I always end with a prayer. Mostly praying that my veggies don't wind up like the rest of the plants. The other beds weren't cultivated or maintained. They had a bunch of weeds all over them. I never saw anyone else there. I guess no one in the neighborhood was super into it. But then all this quarantine stuff happened. And I would make my way over to the garden every morning expecting to like see people. Like, what else he gonna do? Watch The Office for the 16th time? But still, nothing. Just me spilling my secrets to the onions. But then one morning I walk over and stink-eyed guy is there pulling up weeds. Look, I need my safe space. He kind of looks up at me and grunts, 6 feet. And then goes and reads in another part of the garden, and he keeps stink-eyeing me from across the way, and I'm silently praying that I don't cough, so that this trigger-happy old white dude doesn't reach for his pocket. A few days later, stink-eye guy is weeding again, and he sees me coming up, and he tosses me this hand-sewn mask. Wife made a bunch. Took forever. And I'm like, thanks. Go spread the disease. And then goes and weeds somewhere else again. I started seeing stink-eye almost every day, and he only say like 2 words the whole time, like, hello. And bye. One day he was like, oh, thank Christ you're not growing zucchinis. These idiots planted them 5 years back, and I'm still trying to get rid of them. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, yeah. I kind of flinched. Oh, until I realized he was just smiling. It took me a couple more days to figure out that he was never giving me the stink eye. That's just his face. Now, once I was sure he wasn't going to go all... We started talking off and on. I take my earbuds out and he asked me why I prayed over my veggies, or if I knew the kid in the SUV who always plays rap music. I don't. And I'd ask him which bed was his, but he said he wasn't growing anything. He just comes to the garden to take care of other people's plants when they get too busy. Small stuff. He never asked for my name. I never asked for his. But a few days ago, I had my earbuds in, maybe listening to my music a little too loud, but he's at a safe distance away. Well, what are you listening to? And I feel myself start to blush because I gotta tell this old white dude I'm jamming out to Sarah Bareilles singing about pie. Oh, my wife loves that musical. She listens to it every time she's baking. And then the next morning, Stink Eye, that's just his face guy, shows up with a picnic basket. She always makes too many, and we can't see our grandkids anymore. And well, I'm sick of blueberry muffins, and half of them always go to waste. And he sort of offers the basket in my direction, and I think, oh yeah, this dude is definitely trying to poison me. And he did it with the facial equivalent of a shrug. So I say thanks and keep working on my plans. So now I gotta say a prayer that this old white dude doesn't get coronavirus just because he gave me baked goods.